Welcome to Thievius Entertainment. This is our review for Godzilla vs Kong. My name is Dan Chester.
I'm Jimmy Jazz.
Now Mateo.
First things first. I am King. I am Team Kong. What are
You're
you,
King
Mateo?
Kong?
Yeah, I'm King
You're
Kong.
King Kong? Okay, I'm just repping out Godzilla. Godzilla
You're
all
Team
day.
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Jimmy, what team are you?
Well, are we talking before or after we watched the movie?
Before.
Yeah, before.
Before. No, after. Damn, more everything.
Yes. Team Zilla.
Okay, all right. So I'm the odd man out, but
Damn straight.
so then you asked after. Did you change your mind after?
Kind of.
Oh yeah, same here a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not 100%, but yeah.
I think that there's a reason for that, and just jumping into first impressions, this movie was a Kong movie, like he was one of the main characters, and we got very little of that point of view of Godzilla.
Yeah, I agree. The whole time I watched it, the moment the movie ended, I realized that I didn't feel like I was watching a Godzilla movie. Like, there's no point in like Godzilla. Never happened.
Yeah. Usually it's like Godzilla versus whatever other monster, and it's Godzilla
Yeah.
and it's some humans.
Well, okay, I'm gonna just squash this a little bit here.
Just
Okay,
you seemed a little stressed there.
Okay, if you go back to the original 1962 King Kong versus Godzilla, the whole focus point is King Kong throughout the whole movie. Focus point, King Kong. Godzilla's always been the monster destroying the towns. He was the villain. So that's what happens. And at the end, they end with King Kong swimming back to, what was it? It was his island. They didn't call it Skull Island because they didn't have the rights at that time. They call it Skull Island. So they called it something with an F and whatever. Fuck it. Fucking island. But yeah, so that's how that's the way I looked. That's the way I looked at it. They just took that formula of how that ran and probably just beefed it up and changed it up and made it prettier. That's how I'm looking at it, because Kong went back to his home. Godzilla, if you go by the Japanese edition of King Kong versus Godzilla, you hear both roars at the end, and Godzilla is supposedly submerged underwater, swimming away. And this one, if going to the end, spoiling, Godzilla swims away, and then King Kong ends up going back. Well, technically not back to Skull Island, but he goes back to the Hollow Earth. That's his new home. So he ends up going home.
Oh yeah, so you're saying that there are two endings in the original.
Yes.
One for the Americans, and one for
American
Japanese.
rock out.
We got
King Kong as a winner.
And it's similar to the ending that we got in this one, right? Except instead of going back to fake Skull Island, he went to Hollow Earth, right?
Well, technically, if you're talking about fake Skull Island in the beginning of the movie, that's not fake Skull Island. It's still Skull Island.
No, I'm talking about fake Skull Island in the Japanese one, and the original.
Well, yeah.
The original.
And then if you're going back to the original, yeah, that's the fake Skull Island because they have the rights.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. All right. So yeah, what did we think about it? Did you guys like it? You hate it?
I loved it, actually. I actually enjoyed it.
I think it left me more confused than the other movies.
Let me fix you.
Yeah, what was confusing about it? Because
the
movie itself wasn't confusing. It's kind of how I felt, because I don't know. There's parts I loved, and then there's parts I just hated, absolutely hated. Didn't want any part of.
Were you trying to interact with the human parts?
Oh, like they need to get rid of.
Don't do that. Erase that.
Get rid of like Brown and that, because like it's just like a showcase of her. She has no reason to be in the plot.
Who's that?
Wait, who?
I always mess up her name. Like I always call her Billy Bob Brown.
Billy
Oh,
Bobby Brown. Millie
Millie Bobby Brown. There we go. Yeah.
Hmm.
So anyway,
I love her.
so yeah. So Millie Bobby Brown kind of ruins the movie for me. I mean, it's great that there's more Titan fights, but I just want to say the whole time, kaiju.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's kaiju. They
Yeah.
are kaijus.
That is true. I was really hoping they would call Kong a Titan and Godzilla a kaiju to kind of do like the the Eastern Western kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, there's kind of a fun little name swap. But anyway, with Millie Bobby Brown, did I say that?
You did it. You nailed it.
Got it.
Right. Okay. So like Millie Bobby Brown's section, just it feels pointless. Like they put her in the second one, King of Monsters, almost just to get people to go see it because Stranger Things kid is in it.
Yeah.
And like in this plot, she serves no purpose. She doesn't advance the plot. She could have gotten squished in the other movie, and then when we watch this, it would have been a better movie without her in it because it's literally her running around doing things that make no sense, going through like a secret base where no one seems to notice they're there. And then literally the only point of her being there is to show us that King Ghidorah's skull is being used, which we already know and could have been done without her even being present. They could have made a scene without them. And that's it. It's just for her to have screen time to say, oh, we're at our Stranger Things moment. Just for everybody. And with the neon lights, there's so many neon lights. What is with the neon lights in this movie?
Dan,
You didn't like it?
No. Well, every time they were like, 'cause there's a lot with Millie Brown, and every time I see him, like, am I watching Stranger Things? Like,
No.
I'm looking at.
Are we watching Joel Schumacher's Batman with all the neon?
See,
It really we haven't seen that bold of a neon usage since Batman, and like I thought that had killed the thing.
See, sorry.
What were you trying to say, Mateo?
Oh,
I think he's looking into this too much.
Oh.
He's looking into the human side too much right there. See?
True.
See what happened? He
True.
fed into this and he just sucked into that human plot.
I was
no
watching
reason.
I was watching it with Hannah, and she kept on like bringing up like little logic points, and I was like, it's a cartoon.
Don't do it.
If you look at it like it's an actual like cartoon, it makes so much more sense. But
I get that it's a cartoon, but it just drags the movie because like Godzilla is never about people. I mean, well, they try to make it about people, but
yeah,
the difference between how Toho and is it Hollywood that made this one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean
Legendary Films, which is part of Warner Brothers.
Yeah. So.
But I will say that with Toho, Godzilla, like usually, like I think on average, he's on screen for like 15 minutes, and usually the movies are about an hour and a half to an hour 45. So in this one, he actually is on screen like longer than in most Toho. Or at least a kaiju is on screen for longer.
No, there's a lot more Godzilla in the older Tohos because it's centered more around him. It's kind of like you have.
You would think so, but it's just they like utilize the shots with Godzilla so much better than they do. I feel like because like if you watch like the first Godzilla. It's he's really in there just so little.
Yeah, but when you watch with like when he's fighting other kaiju, it's very centered on their battles.
I think so.
Right, and it's kind of where I have the issue where it's splitting between like people. It's like kind of like the Toho versus Legendary, where I think, oddly enough, I like Toho does it better, and it's weird because Toho. I love classic Godzilla. I love Toho, but it's kind of like the campier, cornier Godzilla, no matter how you slice it. But like with Shin Godzilla, it was so much better with the people, and it was like 90% people focused, and it was kind of how they were dealing with Godzilla, as opposed to it being Godzilla doing something, and then we have people doing things. Someone didn't like Shin Godzilla.
I will say, I just finished, or I just started I just watched Godzilla versus Gigan, and like a big majority of that movie is about the people, but when they do show Godzilla, like he's like so it's so 70s and it's so corny.
Mhm.
And there's one part where he actually like talks to Anguirus with thought
Yeah.
with like bubbles and stuff. That's the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Well, if you watch the one with when it's the little boy dreams of himself going to Monster Island, they all freaking talk.
No, don't ever.
I
Just
know, but they all talk.
I like that one, not for because it's great, but because it's
So
awful.
stupid.
I watched that as a kid. It was so good.
I remember that.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's get into the plot a little bit. So it starts off, and we've got King Kong. He's on Skull Island, right? Or at least we think he's on Skull Island.
No, he is.
He is.
He's
And
on
then
Skull Island.
and then
They just made a
he
barrier
does that
around it.
thing that he did in Kong Skull Island, where he takes the tree and and then he makes a spear, and then he chucks it at the
The dome.
sky, and then we find out that he's in a dome and that there's like artificial sky. And he also talks to or he's there's a girl there who sort of uses sign language to speak to him, but we don't know that he understands yet. That's a cool way to open the movie, and I think that it definitely says this is a Kong movie, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's more like maybe if we think of Kong as one of the humans.
Well, what I thought was interesting actually is when in interviews about the film, it was kind of viewed more as an Avengers Endgame film, which it kind of gave me a new scope on like how it focused a bit more on Kong, but kind of that whole opening sequence, it did kind of feel Avengers-esque, where you're kind of starting off where the last film ended, and it's kind of a what they're doing now, as opposed to just being like, this is Kong here. It's like I could see that's really what they were trying to do.
Yeah, I wanted to know, and my question still is like, what was going on from like the 70s when Kong happened to or is it the 70s?
Yeah, it was a
Right?
no.
The Vietnam was like
70s.
ended in
Yes.
the late 70s, and Vietnam like
A
just
lot of
ended in that
Kong
movie.
alone time, if you know what I mean.
At some point they went back there, got him in a dome, and then like that sucks. Like Kong was there just chilling for a long time.
I really want to know how they constructed a dome around him fast enough that he didn't just like climb or walk away. That's the real question. Or did they?
No, the
might have
dome.
sedated him, I guess.
No, the dome wasn't. The dome isn't on the island. It's around the island itself.
It's not, I don't think it's the whole island.
Yeah, it's around the whole island.
Well,
It's submerged around the whole island.
regardless of it,
Would have noticed.
it's a little bit of a little bit of a weird concept, but I think it's interesting. The little girl, her name's Gia. This is her debut. She's never been in anything before, so that's pretty cool. And she is actually deaf.
She is. Actually, her family, it goes back, I think, 4 generations on her father's side.
Wow.
Being deaf.
Wow.
Yeah.
And apparently Alexander Skarsgård, one of the co-stars, learned sign language just to talk to her. Which is
Nice.
That's really sweet.
Which is like insane. Like, how easy is it to learn sign language? You just like learn it and then start. I guess he just learned a Cliff Notes version of it. Probably start to. Well, we do see Rebecca Hall. That's the actor who plays Eileen Andrews. That's Gia's like mom, like guardian. And I've known her, or I've seen her in The Prestige. That was like the way back in the day. And
I forgot she was in that.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
same
that
here.
she's got that like familiar face from like a movie decades ago. It's that just lives in your memory. So it's cool to see her in something.
Haven't
high
seen her
budget.
in Doggy. Our favorite podcast star, Benny. Benny is this man that's trying to be a mole inside these factories, trying to figure out the secrets within them because he believes there's a secret laboratory that's holding more secrets that they should have. So he's being a mole and trying to discover more intel on it so he can put on his podcast. Meanwhile, that's happening. Godzilla has a bad feeling about this factory location and starts wrecking everything. In this location's located in Florida. I forget where in Florida. Jimmy, you know where it's located in Florida?
Hannah, where is it located in Florida? Pensacola.
Pensacola.
Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi-Cola.
So he ends up attacking that place and wrecking everything and destroying whatever secrets that were laying inside of that factory at that moment. So Benny had to basically scurry out as fast as he can with his life because he almost got beamed to death by one of his atomic breaths.
Yeah. The guy's name's Bernie. The character's name is
Bernie or Benny?
Bernie Hayes.
Bernie.
It's played
Bernie
by
Hayes,
Brian Tyree Henry. And he actually played Miles'
Miles
dad.
Davis.
Huh.
Miles' dad in the Spider-Verse.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope.
But yeah, I love that moment where he's like, I was like, this guy's so annoying. Like, is this a character in our movie? But he's purposely trying to annoy that guy. And he gets out of there just like I would, you know?
Yeah.
Well, he got caught when he was actually trying to get, because he ended up sliding through those doors, and he got caught by the guys. And was like, well, there's an emergency thing. I have to go this way, blah, blah. We're all trying to escape. I'm just going the way I believe I'm supposed to be going. And then out there, nuclear beam just kills those guys, knocks him back with the debris. And he's just like, oh.
In the original King Kong versus Godzilla, he was a bad guy. And I like that they gave him a reason to, like, he's coming onto shore, he's wrecking shit. But I was like, wait, but he's wrecking shit for a reason. What is that reason? And we sort of they give you the idea that they're working on cybernetics. And so if you've been, paying attention, I was like, it's Mecha Godzilla, and that was an eyeball, and that ends up turning out to be correct.
Thanks for the spoiler, Dan.
Yeah.
I will say though, my thought was, like, they had the head from the post-credit scene of
King of Monsters.
We're just jumping.
King of
We're just
Monsters.
jumping there.
And then there we were seeing some cybernetics. So I was like, great, these two things are gonna like piece together, and then the next movie is gonna be Mecha King Ghidorah.
That's what I was hoping for too.
Yeah.
They just kind of
we'll see about that.
Well, I don't think another movie's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't know, but we also, that guy that played the from Game of Thrones, who played the bad guy in the last one,
he wasn't kicking.
He wasn't in this at all. So
yeah, but he's still kicking around because he's not dead yet.
Yeah.
But the thing is with King Ghidorah's, like, with Mecha Ghidorah, it's a thing. It's like they need his body to make that, because when it appears, they take a destroyed Ghidorah and they added a whole middle section to him and a robotic middle head.
Yeah, well, they could do whatever they want, I feel.
Yeah, but still, what?
It depends which version, because there are versions where his chest is metallic, and then, I mean, if you really want to go diving, technically, I mean, you think some of the games even have, like, where he's completely metal from top to bottom. He's a full-on robot.
That's true. There is a full mecha.
I don't know. I don't recall that one. I know, really, it's just like
I don't think it ever happened in the movie, though.
It's mostly his chest piece, its head, middle head, and his back wings, all mechanicalized.
And his
that's
legs.
really it.
His legs.
No, his legs have more braces. There are braces attachments to them.
Yeah.
That's basically it. and like that's basically what the origins of it. Most of the things I've seen of him is that same design. They never, if it's another design to make him more look more metallic wise, it's another evolved form or another version of King Ghidorah that they have announced.
Yeah. Well, either way,
Yeah.
we don't see any Mecha King Ghidorah in this movie, and we
No.
probably never will.
I don't know. Well, I have a feeling that Godzilla has to end with a trilogy. This is not a trilogy. This is a battle movie.
Well, yeah, this isn't
So-
supposed to be the end, but it might be.
I don't think it
Oh.
is.
Why
I
do you
have a
say that it
feeling-
might be?
Because they were talking, because the issue is that Toho is most likely not going to renew the contract
Mm.
because Toho can't make a Godzilla movie while they're making these ones.
Oh.
No. Yeah, so Toho is going to probably want to make Shin Godzilla
Yeah.
2
I don't
because
want
it makes
that.
the most sense.
I
And
mean,
they said they wanted to, so they're probably going to reject it. They might renew it later.
I
but
want
that-
Toho. I would rather Toho make the movies. Yeah, fuck it. I don't care about this American shit at all. Let Toho have it back. I didn't know that was. I was wondering why Toho wasn't doing it. I thought maybe they were just like taking a break.
Yeah, I
No,
think
they gave up. They gave up the licensing.
Yeah, I
They
think
haven't
also
sucks.
probably so they don't hurt each other's profits by the
Mhm.
both coming out with a Godzilla film.
But that
Do it
that
like
didn't.
Call of Duty. American one year, Japanese the next year, American one year. Then
Well,
give
that
it to
didn't-
Canada. Let Canada
Yeah.
do one. You know?
The thing with Godzilla, the first Godzilla of this franchise, they dropped them basically right next to each other. They dropped Godzilla, the first Godzilla of the franchise, then they dropped Shin Godzilla like right next to it.
Yeah.
And it was kind of confusing because everyone was just like, "What's going on with these universes? Should we be
Yeah.
following this one or this one?"
That was confusing. They just got to market it better.
I
Well,
think
they,
that
yeah.
I want to see a French ass Godzilla. That's what I
French?
want. Godzilla's like, oh, oui.
Dude, that was
That goes-
1998, bitch.
because it was
French helped do that shit.
Bag
So after the whatever, just Godzilla destroyed everything in Pennsylvania, Pensacola, Pepsi Cola,
Florida,
Kentucky.
Coca-Cola.
NASCAR.
Maddie is listening to the podcast, and she's all anti Godzilla, and she's listening to that guy Bernie who we talked about
No,
earlier.
she's not anti-Godzilla. She's more.
She's like,
She's pro-God. She wants to help Godzilla. She's not anti him.
oh,
She's anti what he's
okay,
doing.
she's pro Godzilla.
She's
I
like
don't know,
kind of
man.
pro-Godzilla, anti his actions.
Yeah, right. And then uh-oh, my Zoom went away. Okay, here we go. And then we go and we meet Alexander Skarsgård, who played Tarzan.
Did he?
Yeah. And
Wow.
that was another Warner Brothers movie with Samuel L. Jackson and Margot Robbie. This movie happened. I watched it.
Oh God, I
You're a
know that.
liar.
Movie. No,
It was
no,
actually
he's
not
right.
bad. It wasn't bad. But
I'm just scared of live-action Disney movies.
it was weird. It wasn't
Thanks.
Disney.
I
But yeah,
understand, but still.
It was weird. And he's like a scientist that studies Hollow Earth. Because we haven't had enough of those scientists. But he has like his brother died trying to get to Hollow Earth, so he's got this connection.
Well, see, my question is, why do we even need him? Like, why
Because
is
he's
his character
Tarzan.
even relevant?
Because he has the more background because his brother actually found the
But he
fucking
doesn't
hole.
do anything. He literally does nothing.
I
No
understand,
no
but he has
one
the
does
research.
anything
No,
except King
Nobody in
Kong.
there.
No, but I'm like, why did we need Kong though? That's the part that really confused me.
Oh, why did we need Kong?
Kong.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah,
Because
like
literally,
they need.
start here at a tunnel. They go diagonal. They go across a section they built, like the Mines of Moria. They go down. There it is.
Yeah, they
Oh.
have the heaves, so they're able to get into Hollow Earth, and instead of like just exploring like a normal person, like it's America, like they would be sure to be in there claiming it, setting up McDonald's and Walmart, and like but instead they're like, oh, it's too scary, let's not look for the thing ourselves, let's get this kaiju to find it for us.
Yeah, like
The thing is,
I don't buy it. I really don't buy
No.
it.
the thing
Even
is
with suspension of disbelief, I don't buy it.
yeah, no.
the thing is,
Mateo likes the movie.
the thing is that the Titans all supposedly came in the Hollow Earth. They all merged from there somehow in some way. So all of them have a connection to the power source that this back-ass company is trying to find. So Kong is drawn to this power source in a way.
Yeah.
So that's what they're using Kong as, more of a freaking, as a they basically a drug dog. He's trying to find that source of the power.
He'll hone into it because it's like his home.
And he would be directed
like
to it.
they could have found it if they just looked. Like, you know, is the thing.
See, they had so much time to do it, and then they decided, because like to me, it's like the amount of effort it took to get Kong there didn't really seem worth the effort. Because in the moment, like, I mean, I know obviously, you know, trailers gave it away, but it's kind of like, why did you take Kong over the ocean? Like it's just like, it's dumb beyond the point of like, it's like, okay, this movie isn't like, it's a Godzilla movie, and then it's like, did they even think when they wrote it? Because where does Godzilla come out 100% of the time?
Yeah.
The ocean. So why? And then
he had to go over the ocean so that we could get that battle.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, you know, I like the battle, but it's like,
cool. It was cool.
We could fly him. It's like,
and that actually was the next thing that happened, is that they were on the boat and transporting Kong, because they need to bring him to hone in on the life force in Hollow Earth. So they're trying to get to Antarctica, which is where the butthole of the Earth is located. And in the process, they get attacked by a giant lizard who is drawn to the spot.
Right. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing that bothers me too, is the whole movie's like, it's dumb, like in the sense that, so Godzilla apparently has like a chub fixation where I have to have the biggest chub to rub. I'm going to go after anyone, which doesn't make any sense considering the other movies, because the other monsters come out to do their thing. They're not, because the way they make it sound like is they're always challenging each other, but the other kaiju come and do their thing, and then Godzilla kind of shows up as like, oh, hey, I'm bringing balance. Where this one, it's just like, it kind of ruined that vibe. Like Godzilla's working and like,
yeah.
like,
well, they're hinting at this ancient rivalry, which is reminiscent to like Alien versus Predator.
True,
and that's really like the only thing. Godzilla always has to fight.
But not necessarily. Like, that's the thing. A lot of Godzilla is like balancing nature, helping, and it's like, and I don't believe that Kong, a thunderstorm, kept Godzilla from knowing where Kong was. I mean, Godzilla like can shoot a laser beam through the entire planet without destroying it somehow.
Oh yeah, interesting.
It's
like
the Hollow
like,
Earth.
Yeah,
that says it.
Why wouldn't he have come for King Kong inside?
It makes no sense. Like, I get that there was a storm around it, but I'm like, there's also the Earth. Godzilla sends things through the Earth.
Well, yeah. So the skull crawlers come out of Hollow Earth on Skull Island. So there is another butthole there, which is really confusing to me, because they started off on Skull Island. They could have just stayed there. Why did they have to go to Antarctica?
No. Okay, no.
Rewind.
Let's hear it, Mateo. What did we get wrong?
Okay, so as much as I fucking hate Kong, Kong's movie, there's no Hollow Earth. It's more that there's a bunch of cave system setups that makes it look like Hollow Earth. So that's where all of them lie. They live underneath the actual real landscape of the island. They're all under this other setups. They're not actually in the Hollow Earth. There is a
But
semi-universe.
They're like
in the
plane,
beginning,
they're not in the hole.
in the
And yeah,
beginning of the
bingo, mister.
movie, they drop those bombs on the surface of Skull Island, and then they're all like, "That's it. Sounds hollow. Hollow Earth.
No, I mean that's
That's the caves."
it's the caves. It's more cave system. It's a
Okay.
hollow. It's a more of like a hollowed it's a hollow shell area. It's just that nothing's broken through
It's
it.
the Earth that's hollow, but it's not Hollow Earth.
No, yes,
I
the
get you.
island's
Yeah.
somewhat
No,
hollow.
mm-hmm,
But you
No,
guys
I
are
g-
going.
all right,
But the
okay.
thing
Where'd
with
they
you
come
guys,
from? How did they get there? They didn't swim. Like,
not,
But that's
they
the
could.
thing.
You
Right?
never know.
They definitely implied in Skull Island that they were coming out of Hollow Earth.
It's
out
not
of a
Hollow
hole.
Earth because that's not it.
I think they
Well,
just don't know their
okay.
own canon.
Because Hollow Earth did not look like what Hollow Earth looked like in this movie.
Well,
So-
they never actually showed where they were coming
Yeah.
from, but they definitely like implied that it was happening somewhere on the island.
So, but
Maybe they
you
plugged up
guys
the
are
hole.
like, but you guys are going with this whole Godzilla thing with him just doing this thing. Like I said, they're taking the original movie, the original King Kong versus Godzilla. That was the original title. They're taking that storyline, that whole storyline. They stripped it from the 1962 bullshit, and they added their bull on top of it. They're basically following that strip. So now just Godzilla is wrecking things. Like in Godzilla, that movie, Godzilla gets freed from an iceberg, and then he doesn't know what the hell's happening. So he ends up just doing his natural thing and wrecking things. So in this one, Godzilla is wrecking things, but he has a reason for wrecking things. People are just thinking he's just causing mayhem, and that's why they have this Kong thing. They can't trust They can't trust Godzilla because he's not technically on their side at this point in their minds. So they're not trying to use him.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
Kong is
think
the more
that-
innocent point of using him. And then the boat attack is basically the raft spot where they blow him up on accidental. So they subbed it in with Godzilla attacking him because now he
Yeah.
senses the presence of another
No, but
Titan.
that's sort of the thing is that this movie
Yeah.
needs to stand up by itself without having watched, and comparing it to the old movie.
I
It's-
understand, but
the-
that's what they
Well,
basically
yeah.
did.
So, like, if this movie is only better because, like, if you've seen the original, then it's a bad movie. Like, it
I
needs to
don't-
work by itself.
Yeah, I don't think it is better. I think it's because the problem is it doesn't make sense. Like Godzilla has the reason, but it's like I hate to say, but if you put the three movies together, it's really like I hate to say the word stupid, but it doesn't make sense because what's Godzilla been doing for the past 30, 40, 50 years? Because Kong's been around. Godzilla literally has like a radar that's just boop, 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 can
Yeah.
figure out where he is at any point. So it doesn't make any sense to me that any of this could be going on.
Yeah, I like the idea too that like the skull crawlers in Kong Skull Island, they were
Mhm.
like the natural predator of Kong's, and
Mhm.
Kong lost all of his family because of the skull crawlers. And like the skull crawler was like somebody like at Kong's level.
Yeah.
So that would mean that like Godzilla could have taken out a skull crawler like it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And we
He can
kind of
stomp
see
him.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I
So,
mean,
like, how the hell is Kong like the ancient rival of
Yeah,
Godzilla?
it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make
Also,
sense.
we actually like we were watching when we watched it, and the thought was, like through this whole time through Kong Skull Island in this movie, King Kong can't defeat anything without help.
Mhm.
Like King Kong.
That's why they gave him a battle axe.
I know. Well,
That's the reason why they gave him a battle axe. And the
Well, see,
battle axe, once he goes in the Hollow Earth, the battle axe is actually the key to unlocking the power of the Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
Because they have the engraving spot of where you're supposed to put the axe, and that charges the axe.
Well, yeah,
That doesn't mean anything because charging the axe actually decreases and goes away until you reload it again. There's no real use of that power until Godzilla breathes his atomic breath onto it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
actually, I love that scene because I made I made the Lord.
There's the shape of Godzilla, that power surge too.
Well, it's because it's
Yeah,
a
hold on.
It's a
Wait, whoa,
Godzilla.
whoa.
Yeah.
Let's get to it when we get to it because we're almost there. Let's just catch everybody up to speed. We
Fuck it.
we we were on the boat and they had the epic battle. We all agreed that the battle was cool, right? He's jumping on the boats and stuff, and
if you think about it in real life at scales, if you put logic to it, I'm not
and
gonna try.
and
Those boats are sinking.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, they wouldn't have even been able to pick up Kong, but whatever.
No, Kong's weight
and
like spread out on one of their actual freighters for playing the actual battleship freighters would actually be able to carry him properly.
Mhm.
But two of them on one, no.
I liked it when he threw the plane like a ninja star. That was freaking cool. But to Jimmy's point before, you were saying that he couldn't do anything by himself, and that was the thing. He started getting drowned by Godzilla. You know, this isn't his territory. And then the only way that he was able to survive was by the people shooting the thing with depth charges, which I'm still not sure how that worked, but it did. And
show it.
I was really surprised when Kong came out and then he got on the boat and he's exhausted. I was surprised as hell.
Kong shouldn't have came out because apes don't know how to swim.
No, and then what makes even less sense going back to the whole Godzilla King of Monsters junk is that if Godzilla can sense another rival, how does playing dead work?
It doesn't.
No.
You talking about with the boats and stuff?
Well, I think in this
there because he could be playing dead, but he's still giving off whatever aura Godzilla is chasing him after. So it would be like, oh, you're just lying down.
I don't think that they were saying that he was playing dead, and I kind of feel like King Godzilla at that point was sort of like, all right, I see you. I'm gonna see you later, you know, alligator.
No. The thing was like
they said that he's playing dead, and we need to play dead or something along.
Yeah, I think that happened. That happened before the attack, or like in the middle of the attack, or something.
Well, at the end, after King Kong came back up, he played dead, and then they realized we need to turn everything off, so we played dead. So Godzilla. So basically, King Kong got defeated, so Godzilla would go.
Is that when it happened?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure, but either way, they end up while this is all happening, Maddie and meets up with Josh, who is played by the guy from Hunt of the Wilder People, and what's the guy?
Bobbies.
Yeah, from Deadpool. And they go find Bernie, who's drinking bleach or something.
No, he's bathing in bleach.
Which is like awful. That's
just like the script.
And
bathing in bleach is not a good thing anyway because that will kill you.
And they end up sneaking into one of the Apex Legends things, and then they get on a neon monorail and are headed off to Hong Kong. So they get on a monorail and head off to Hong Kong, and they're on a like cargo thing with a whole bunch of skull crawlers, which she instantly recognizes. I guess she's like really interested in the stuff. And her father is that guy Mark, who's played by that guy Kyle Chandler, who was in the Peter Jackson remake of King Kong, which is kind of crazy.
So actually, I really kind of want to know why Millie's character is so obsessed with conspiracy theories, because she kind of lived in one. So it's like, does she really need to hear the podcast?
She has the resources to like investigate the truth. Like
her dad is in it. Like
if she asked Mark, like, hey man, like I'm looking for this guy Bernie. He has a podcast. His dad would be like, got you, and just make one phone call, and they would be able to get, I guess maybe Bernie's off the grid, but they could still find him. You trying to tell me
The
that
thing is,
because he
she
uses a
did.
flip phone and bleaches his skin that he's gonna be
No,
off
the
the
thing she
grid?
mentions in Bernie to him, the father, that she mentions it to the father, and she's like, "Stop listening to that crackpot." Blah blah.
That's
All that
true.
junk. She basically shushes her away from it. That draws her to be
That is
pissed off
true.
more at her father. That's why she didn't want the resources.
Mhm.
Now you're making me look into the stupid plot. We're
There
not
you
supposed
go.
to look into the plot. You
Exactly.
get out of the plot, the humans, and you get back into the monsters.
Again, and all of this issue is like really most of it is due to the humans, and there's too much confusion with the humans, but we also have a lot of confusion with the kaiju. Like they're not
No,
following the rules.
no, their canon is going like each movie is going in a different direction.
Yeah,
So
it's
it
weird, and I
doesn't.
felt like they were setting things up, and then they didn't pay it off.
No,
Um, so anyway, so they while that's happening, they're in Antarctica with
I thought it was Hoth Base actually.
yeah, they end up in Hoth. Yo, so King Kong is being he's sleepy, so they carry him in on a net carried by a whole bunch of helicopters.
Mhm.
Um,
What to me? What do you want?
My biggest question was how did they get him on the net? How did they move him to put the net under him?
They flip the boat.
But like,
Well, that's the funny thing is because they never explained it in the original movie
was he
how
s-
they
w- was he sleepy?
he was
Was he
sleeping.
sleepy?
he was
They tranked
unconscious,
him.
and somehow they got the net under him and
Yeah,
then lifted him up.
maybe
Behind the scenes.
the girl
Weird
the
stuff.
little girl was like just bro, just for a moment, just move on to the net, it'll be
Just
comfortable.
leave,
And
just
that's
like
actually
leave.
when seeing him on that, I was like, man, that's like peak comfort. He's just like moving about the world and like just laying on the net. It's almost as good as Yoda on his like
I
floating
don't know.
chair.
I get annoyed because I hate hammocks that are made out of rope. I always hate that feeling. Actually,
This
I
one looked
don't.
comfortable.
It
I don't
did.
know. But at least it's more comfortable than the original movie when they transport him in the original movie by using this special nylon, whatever hell it is, rope like string that holds him up like a puppet
Yeah,
and like transport him
yeah.
that way. And they didn't explain how they even did that in that movie too. So just leave it alone.
Hmm.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
They just
So then Kong wakes up and they're like, well, he's not gonna go into the butthole, and they're like, we'll make him go in the butthole. And then he like takes a look around,
what's up with you and your
and
buttholes?
Well, he watched Star Wars. He knows not to go in that cave. He
yeah,
has no
don't go in the
lightsaber.
cave. It's bad place. And then I like that moment where he's looking off into the wilderness, and he's like, fuck, it's cold. I
He's
should have
so
brought my
impressed.
parka.
Well, he's always
Well,
been
that's
on a tropic island.
well, that's where I made my
Tropical
Hoth
islands.
joke when he picked up the snow and looked sad. He's like, "Why Hoth? Nobody liked Hoth."
They couldn't have brought me to like Mustafar or yeah, so then but then they eventually convince him by telling him that his family is down there, which is like maybe, and he's like sure. I like the moment where he's swinging on the things, but like there's no way that there
They were going to
could
support him.
support him. And then at the very end of the sequence, he one of them breaks, and that's the last one. So it's like in Uncharted when the last thing breaks, and it's like, all right.
In the cave, the cave should fall on the ships and just destroy
Yep.
them.
Yeah, right. What if they all died because he was being too like
Whatever.
rambunctious? And then they fall and they go into Hollow Earth. Um and that whole sequence I think was cool.
So
Um
when they're going through the portal, I just imagined I was hearing Gene Wilder singing the tunnel thing in Willy Wonka.
yeah. It was like around the same time in the movie too where it happens, yeah. And actually I like blinked the first time I watched it, and I missed the moment where the gravity like shifted and they went back down.
hmm
And they are very weird about it because the earth exists on both sides,
Well,
right?
playing.
Kind of
Yes.
like Halo where it like wraps around. Um
Although
but
But you can't climb to the tourist peak and jump to the next tourist peak on the other surface above you.
Which
And
I
they
don't
go
even want to
down.
get into how that makes no sense because everything would be pushing into the sky because
It,
centrifugal force. But actually,
I
it
mean,
would push out, but you
forcing
wouldn't have two
gravity.
planes. You would still have like a sphere because the Earth is rotating. Well, actually, you'd have like a belt. Well, I mean, if they're going to go through the whole point to have dual points of gravity,
you
I
sure
mean,
enough.
technically, it's kind of the idea of like the halo ring, where it's like it's the centrifugal force of the object. Now, you wouldn't have the same force in the center because of where the Earth's spinning. They push everything out to the sides.
Yeah, like are there struts or something
Well,
that like connect
basically,
it?
it's like you think of it. It's the opposite of Earth for us, where gravity is keeping us, pushing us in. The other one is kind of like being in one of those at the fair, like one of those machines that you sit in and wings you around.
Oh, the spaceships.
Yeah, it was like because that's what it would be like inside
Wait, so the inside disc
would be pushing you out,
is because of it spinning.
right?
Oh,
Because
you
it's on
can't
the
see
axis.
that
Well,
at
yeah.
all.
So basically, you'd be
No, you
like
can't see
spinning
it, Dan.
Anyways, regardless of the science, it happens and it's pretty cool. And King Kong goes all the way to the top of one of the mountains, and there's a little finger pointing, and there's like this finger pointing sort of motif in this movie. There's the one part where the little girl puts her finger out, and then giant King Kong touches her, and then this finger thing happens again here, which reminds me, of course, of like the creation of Adam painting. Um, but I don't know if that's what they're trying to reference here. That doesn't make sense, really.
No.
So I guess it's just cool, but it should have been done a third time, but they don't. I don't think.
Yeah, no. So it did get me in a good look. See, that's my thing with this movie. Every joke I made came true. Like I'd make fun of it, and then it's what happens. Kind of like when they went to Kong, finally got pushed the door open. My first words was, "This isn't a mine. This is a tomb."
Oh.
And it was a tomb.
Mm-hmm.
And then like joking, like going back, it felt like a Thor title. It's like, well, he basically became Thor, and then on top of it, them saying it was supposed to be there in their mind, like Avengers Endgame, where Thor gets an electric battle axe with a stick and a big
Happens.
metal lightning rod.
Yeah.
I was just like, ooh,
Yeah. So he King Kong goes to his Fortress of Solitude, sort of like home base, um, which is really pretty. I actually thought it was like all of this stuff was really cool. I liked when he floats across the like he transfers from one side of the earth to the other. That was cool. And then when he gets inside, like there's like a paw print. We get this moment where he's like, "My handprint? I'm pretty dumb." And and then I need to explain this for the audience. And then he pushes it open. And then he just like finds the axe. Oh shit, an axe? I like have natural instincts to pick up this axe. Um and what I didn't notice from the trailers or from the toys was that that's one of the spikes from Godzilla's back, which is
yeah, that's
really
what I
cool.
was saying. Yeah, before it was pretty cool. Yeah, though I agree with you. It was kind of bizarre because there were moments where he had no idea what he was doing, and then there were moments like he's been there, like he used to live there,
Yeah, like
and
instinct.
yeah, and it was really confusing to figure out like, have you been here or not? I'm really confused, and also it felt like at that point his proportions kept rapidly shifting
He definitely shifted in proportions,
a lot.
right?
He became like this big and this big and this big.
He's also like in Kong Skull Island, he was supposed to like still be growing, but it
Mm-hmm.
didn't seem like he grew that much. I really was expecting to see him much bigger.
Yeah,
Um,
the thing is, like, he stood not that tall, and then all of a sudden when he's with Godzilla, they're
he, yeah,
like there's still a differential, but not as much as.
yeah.
You want to be?
So he picks up the axe, puts it in a slot on the ground that matches the axe, which I thought was weird. Like usually you would have to like if it's a key slot, like it would be a manufactured thing, but this thing was natural. It was like a bone. So did they like place it there and then like draw a little template around it and then start chiseling around the template that they made or something. Like,
No
why,
way.
why would you put your most powerful weapon on a random spot in the floor? Like it
yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
But
Like put
I
it on like a
did
pedestal.
when he put it down, there was the glowing energy that formed, and I liked this moment a lot. It looked like a Godzilla, but it also looked like the snake that's always chasing its tail
Ouroboros.
in yeah. What? Say it one more time.
Ouroboros.
Yeah, I was trying to say it earlier, and I was like Aurora Borealis. Um, and no, I think I said or whatever. I like that sort of linked it to like our real world. It's like maybe that inspired Norse mythology. And but I also liked it because it reminded me of Alien versus Predator some more. Because they always have like the Alien logo, where like it looks like it's kind of like the chest buster, where it's like wrapped around in a circle, and that's what it looked like. So I was like, yes. But to your point, it keeps on reminding you of other movies that you would rather be watching.
Yeah, and also it kind of made me feel odd because like we had, and I think that's my issue with the people story. I mean, like it shouldn't have been in the movie. And then you have Kong going to his home where things have clearly happened. Like, why are they extinct if Kong is such an apex predator?
Yeah.
Why did they lose? And there's more story I want to know there, but instead we're getting dragged around
Yeah,
by
they
other
also
people.
like the implication that they're like made an axe out of one of Godzilla's spines makes me think that there may have been other Godzillas, and that
What?
and there may have been like the battle that similar to Alien versus Predator, where like they just sort of
Yeah,
the species fought.
swarmed each other, and
Yeah. And that's cool. I want to see that. And I would love to see a spin-off movie that actually lets us see. I think they actually said it, right? There used to be a war
It used to
or
be
something.
at the end of I think it was at the end of Kong. They showed the fight. No, it wasn't the Kong.
They
It
definitely
was end of
showed all of those like cave drawings of
King of
the
all
ancient
monsters.
things
That
and
was
the
it. The second
hieroglyphics.
Godzilla. They showed it.
Yeah.
The dad.
Yeah.
then like
Um
intro credits.
Yeah, the
mhm.
intro showed a lot more.
Yeah,
Um so anyway, while all of this is happening, the Maddie and them guys, they end up in Hong Kong, and then they
their body
sorry,
should have melted. Or well, actually, I'm like thinking about that whole sequence how they got to Hong Kong because
on the monorail.
yeah, exactly. The monorail's going too fast. They would need a flight suit, which basically what it does is it looks like a normal, like a really tight vest, but it has pressure points that go to certain parts of your body because when you're flying, going doing certain G's, the blood is being forced in different directions in your body, and this kind of helps you keep blood flow.
Yeah.
So they're standing, just standing on a monorail without any kind of protection, going 1,000 miles an hour. And
Um
like at that point, they would just be dead. And also the creatures they were having, it would be a big issue.
Also, I think even more egregious than that though is why did they have the lights turn on and off as it went by? Like it's just cargo. Does it need to be lit?
Apparently,
It also costs a lot. It got to cost a lot of money
I
to
want to know
have
who built them.
the lighting. You know what I'm talking about? As it moved, the lights are like zoom,
Yeah,
zoom, 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 zoom,
Hmm.
for the
and
whole time.
I
That's
guess it. Yeah,
that's completely unnecessary.
I mean, I guess if it broke
Um,
down, but they don't seem to use it for people.
do you
So
think that the suits that they were wearing in the heaves like worked as a good flight suit,
not
or
even
I
close.
was really like they just brought on some like random people. Like they definitely need to be trained to go into space. I also glossed over the moment they introduced this new character like a half hour into the movie and beyond, um who is um who is it? Oh, Isa Gonzalez is the actor. She played Maya Simmons, who is the daughter of Walter Simmons,
Hmm.
who is the main bad guy. And like when she got on the screen, I was like, I don't have the capacity to have one more human. You know, like there's no room left.
And that mm. I'm like the whole time the first time she called King Kong a monkey, I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
But then she keeps
She keeps
doing
doing
it.
it.
I don't think the
Maybe she
director
doesn't.
knew what an ape is.
At first, it reminded me of In Skull Island. There's a moment where the one guy's like, "Is that a monkey?" Which is great. But then yeah, she said it, and then she said it too many times. But
Yeah.
what's worse than that, there's the moment where on a Hollow Earth, we see that new creature that has the
Mhm.
wings and it's like a snake. Um, and they Kong rips its head off and then eats it, and then she's like, gross, like she was watching it in her plane, and like, I didn't need to see her, I don't like her.
No.
And like having her do stuff like that makes me like her a lot
I
less.
think the problem with her character is you're not supposed to like her, but you dislike her not because they designed her. It's just the writing for her was so
Yeah.
terrible that you just dislike her.
Also, you don't need to not like people in your movie. That's not a good enough excuse. You can actually like all of your characters, including the heinous villains, you know? That's just good writing.
Yeah, I mean, by
And
the
Kong
time,
Skull Island, even if you don't like it, like they had a million characters and you kind of like them all for one reason or another. And that's not even an example of good writing, you know? It's just fun.
it just worked. And like honestly, with her character, by the time they got back up out of Hollow Earth, I completely forgot about the betrayal. It was so like felt so irrelevant and just I don't
Yeah.
care. And also, I love the fact that makes once again this film is they want to get out of Hollow Earth, so they're like shoot him, and why go around him? And also the fact that he could hold it and be like,
Yeah, well,
this is
I like the little machine drills a hole in the ground and it gets a sample, and that immediately like scans it somehow and then sends it off to Hong Kong
how does
through the Hollow Earth, whatever. And then the guy there, well, let's catch up to what's happening with Maddie. She ends up they all end up out of the cargo thing, and they end up in front of in this strange giant chamber, which is actually the home of Mecha Godzilla. And Mecha Godzilla shows his prowess by defeating a skull crawler. Um, and um, what did what did we think of this moment? There was this thing where he was like, "Yo, that's Robo Godzilla," and then the wildebeest guy was like, "Nah, it's Mecha Godzilla."
I thought that was really dumb. I'm not gonna lie, I as dorky and dinky as the original Mecha Godzilla is, I liked it better. It has more personality to it. Where
For
this
sure.
one is just like so stumpy.
It's something about his neck
Yeah, and the
and
face doesn't
his face
replicate Godzilla.
and his little hands.
What is with this?
Why? He could have had like I like the hands with the little missiles on it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
the original and the remake in the like 90s, or was it the 2000s?
It was like 90s, 2000s mixture because the last
That was
Godzilla in
cool.
the 2000s was 2004. So it was a mixed breed
That
of it.
one. Yeah, the 2004 one I thought looked pretty cool.
yeah.
Um
Also, I don't understand why, because I know with like Mecha Godzilla, like it's alien, if I'm correct.
Yeah, no, no.
Mechagodzilla
In
is
the
alien.
original, the
Yeah.
1970s edition that brings out Mechagodzilla, he is an alien mecha like bot, mech suit, basically bot thing that they use to disguise as Godzilla to take on Intel, but at the same time cause a little bit of havoc. And it disguises as Godzilla, and he basically destroys everything that Godzilla built as a friendship super quick. So it's like crap.
Right, which made me kind of confused when they released Mechagodzilla, and he's like, "This is the greatest monster ever, kaiju titan thing," and I'm just like, "It's just metal." I'm like, "How is any of this better than
mm,
Godzilla, let alone King Kong? Like, how does this withstand any of them? It
yeah.
doesn't. It's not like there's like adamantium or something that it's coated in." to where like
Right.
it can resist things.
And yeah, and if they introduced some sort of adamantium, that probably would have made sense, but they didn't. Um,
Mm.
and then we get to see that it's not living up to its full potential. And there's a guy that is controlling it using like a VR uplink. Um, and
Well,
he
there's always a
is
guy controlling it in
yeah,
any of the Godzilla movies. Mechagodzilla is
this
always being controlled by a
this
pilot.
guy that's in the cybernetic thing, his name is Ren Shirazawa. So he's somehow related to the
He's
to
the
Ken
son.
Watanabe.
He's the son.
Um,
They stated he's the son of him.
they do.
Yeah.
Um, why is he? I don't think that his dad would be happy with him doing this stuff.
No.
Like this is bad. Like his dad was like a stand for Godzilla, and then this guy is like literally gonna kill Godzilla with him. But they didn't do it. So anyway, they find out that the mecha is being controlled using the skull of King Ghidorah, and
Mhm.
that's how it's they're using the what is it, psionic uplink
Cyberonic.
to
Close enough. I like psionic.
uh
Sounds great.
because the skull has this stuff. So here's the thing: is this skull the head that we got at the end credits of?
Yes,
It is.
it
It
is.
looks smaller.
Yeah, because I want to believe that this is like the second head that didn't get atomically destroyed by Godzilla. Because the other one had like its flesh still on it. Of course, they could have got rid of the flesh. That probably would have made sense.
Yeah, because you
But
can't help put a computer-based substance inside of a mushy head.
that guy
Who
wasn't
wants the smell
working.
of the rotten
Did
flesh?
that guy then just sell it? The Game of Thrones guy? Like
Probably. He's
I
working in
needed
cahoots with them.
I definitely needed a more of a connection there to understand.
Yeah, they just
Okay.
kind of wanted you to
Director's cut.
accept that there
Yeah.
is a head in the universe, and that's about it.
Yeah. And then
And also,
Jimmy, you brought up when we weren't filming, but that this means that King Ghidorah is like there isn't even a Mecha Godzilla. Like this is basically King Ghidorah because
yeah, it's like a
well,
crippled King Ghidorah because as the film goes on, it kind of plays that King Ghidorah is, I'm going to call it his mind space because it's not really told whether its brain is still functioning
mm,
or how that's working. So I'm going to call it its mind space or its mind palace is waiting for Mechagodzilla to be fully charged. So that way, or at least have the right power outage. You know, they need to
hmm
find the right battery, I guess. You know,
just
or
to
they're
synchronize.
trying to plug in the Mechagodzilla came with like the UK outlet plug.
Yeah.
You need to find the US one.
Yeah.
So once they got it working, King Ghidorah's like, okay, it's my time to shine. So he, ghosts into Mechagodzilla.
Good way to put it.
So
Yeah.
therefore, it's really Mecha King Ghidorah just in a Godzilla costume.
It also kind of reminds me of like Lord of the Rings with Sauron, holding on to the ring and like
Yeah,
in a way he is the ring. Um
yeah.
Mhm.
It
in a
also baffled me on how he or King Ghidorah used Mecha Godzilla because it wasn't functional up until that point, and then somehow it knew how to use everything. Like
yeah.
it's used to its
Mm.
own body, and now it's in like this reptar.
Oh, it did mention, I mean this doesn't mean anything, but that it's a supercomputer basically. The brain was like functioning like a supercomputer. So maybe it's just super smart and learning all the time. It's just like bleep, 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 bleep. Oh, got it.
But even so, like
I
even
know how to use my.
computers have to learn, even the supercomputers. So it doesn't make any sense that
It's
like it
fair enough.
automatically knows what to do, like it's been Batman for 40 years.
So that catches us up to what's going on. Eventually, they get the sample from the energy source, the life force in Hollow Earth, which then powers up the mecha. And then, as you said, King Ghidorah takes over because it's the right power outage. And then uh, King Mecha Godzilla kills the main bad guy. Uh, and then we Walter Simmons, and I like the line from Bernie. He's like, "Oh man, I kind of wanted to hear the rest of his speech." um, and then Godzilla's like, "Whoa, I'm feeling all kinds of emotions," and he shoots a laser beam through the Earth.
I'm gonna time you out. You literally
Yeah,
your beaming is before you flip flop.
Yeah, all right. The beaming is before. At some
Yeah.
point, regardless of time, time is a concept. Okay, so he shoots a beam into the Earth, and then um.
doesn't destroy anything.
No.
So why did he? Oh, so when? Oh, so that was activated because Kong touched the power source.
Yeah.
Yes,
This is
Godzilla.
weird.
Yeah, because Godzilla noticed that which kind of,
The
I mean,
force.
honestly,
His
which really
spine.
baffles me about. I mean, we could have a whole episode on Hollow Earth and why I have so many problems with it.
Yeah.
So it activates Godzilla's power, which is bizarre because there's no sign on that planet that there's nuclear energy because plants wouldn't like none of that would happen if there was like overflowing mountains of nuclear energy. That it kind of starts and Godzilla can sense it because I mean you think about it, it's what Godzilla runs on,
Yeah.
and it no, I mean I guess Godzilla's seen the axe
Well,
before.
it's the life force. Like I could buy it that this is a very particular kind of energy that
That
he.
means Godzilla uses light or uses isn't nuclear and uses the force out of its face.
I kind of feel like he does. I feel like nuclear energy, like this is energy that comes from the Earth's core, which is radioactive.
But
I
the Earth
feel
doesn't
like
have
that
a
like
core.
charges the life force, and that's what is like truly his. And he finds like the radioactive stuff on Earth. Like this
But
is how it works in my head canon, and
yeah. I
I
mean,
like it.
if it wasn't Hollow Earth, that makes sense because the Earth doesn't have a core. It literally has empty space in the middle of it.
Well, this Earth does have a core, but it's like
But it doesn't because it comes to the world. So it's like the Earth, these two things, and then sky. Even they showed on the map, the Earth is literally empty. It's
oh no, I don't think so. What I think that there's a tiny Earth inside Earth. Then there's like a pocket of air around that sphere, and then there's like a inverted Earth.
is it bad that like I want to like just fast forward in the movie to find it?
Oh, they did like an image of it.
Yeah, they pulled up a
Yeah.
map. It literally looked like the Earth with like little holes spiraling into the center.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
then
so
this
it's like
it's the center, right? But then I thought that there's like another
No,
tinier.
there's no.
It
no,
doesn't make any sense. So what makes less sense though is and back to the story. King Kong goes oh, and then he shoots a hole directly down into the earth and shoots all the way to Hollow Earth. And then God's King Kong, yeah, King Kong jumps into it, all right. We don't see what happens, but I'm assuming he goes all the way down, gets into the portal, and then at some point gravity shifts, and then he's like, "Oh shit!" And then he grabs on, and then he has to climb thousands of miles, and he does it in like a minute or
yeah.
two.
What
Is it
confuses
the
me
power
is
of the
I thought
axe?
Godzilla's beam came down, and then all of a sudden the holes
But
on
it
the
went up.
floor. It did okay.
Yeah, it went up. Yeah, that was
Mm-hmm.
weird.
Also, how did Godzilla shoot a beam without a portal? Because you seem to need a portal to get
You
to
need a portal.
Middle Earth, and
I don't know.
yeah, he just kind of vomits his way
No, no, no.
through.
This is the thing. This really breaks the whole thing. It doesn't make any sense, and I don't understand how Kong just sort of got up to Hong Kong.
Yeah, no, and also I never got to say it, but on total like on the fact of not getting it, why was anyone surprised that Kong learned sign language? Like, do people are there no other apes in this universe? Because
No, they're all
Oh,
extinct.
apes are pretty
well,
smart, and they're like,
I
wait,
think that
he can understand
they were
people.
trying to communicate with Kong, but I think Kong was being like sneaky about it. They sort of were like, I didn't see any recognition in him. I thought I saw something, but he never, showed anything.
I mean, this girl has been with Kong for so long. It's kind of like I don't know. Like it strikes me
Somebody would
that
have
they're
seen
like,
it.
yeah, that they're like, he knows silent. He can learn a language.
he's too big to like keep it to himself is the thing. Like he
Yeah.
would have been like, you know.
Even if he
Um
was just walking through the woods, like it's like you're gonna notice, like,
I think it's cool though. I want to see more of like Kong talking, and that's a good way to like actually see it. And I loved Planet of the Apes, and I think all of the other apes, right,
yeah,
signed to each other. And that
hmm
was brilliant.
no,
So anyway, but also the other thing that's problematic about it is that um Hong Kong and the home are like located right exactly. That's too much of a coincidence that they're located exactly at the
yeah.
same spot.
Like
Like,
Godzilla's like, oh, I just gotta turn and make a quick left or right over here and just, bleh.
yeah, because he was
Like,
already there chasing after the
yeah,
cybernetic thing and fucking
right.
up Hong Kong. But then,
Which still confuses me because how does he sense? I don't understand how he senses the cybernetic one. I don't like. They don't explain how that
It's King
works.
Ghidorah's head,
I think
and
it's
it's
the
basically
Ghidorah's head.
King's
Yeah,
Right,
freaking
it's his
phone.
head, but what? But what? See, that's the thing is, what part draws
The
that in?
essence,
No, but
the
like,
essence
where,
of
like, just like
Ghidorah.
King Kong. Yeah, but King Kong is a. I mean, all things is an idiot,
it's the
relatively
smell.
speaking.
He's like, smells like King Ghidorah.
I know.
I know
um,
that kind of poison.
uh,
But
but the one thing too is that they were evacuating Hong Kong, but then they still show shots of like people like clubbing
I
and
was gonna
stuff.
say, yeah, I love when Godzilla they're starting messing about and there's people still having dinner and then they're like,
We're
whoa,
like, we're evacuating.
yeah,
Go. But I
how?
do believe it now, like knowing now how people handled COVID, like they will still be just dining. They're like, no, don't let the government tell you. Don't be a sheep.
But at that point they've been screaming and like sent a
Those
laser
people are
beam.
just will believe anything. They'll just believe that they're seeing a monster. Like I believe that these people are dumb enough. They're in Hong Kong though. I don't know. Americans are different.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. That part just threw me off and was just like, and then thinking like the body count of this movie is just astronomical.
But also Mark is there, Millie's dad.
Hmm.
And he's just there. I don't know what he was doing
No,
there.
Monarch is supposed
Got
to
there
follow everything
that
that planes
Godzilla
are doing.
does. Did he like
So,
take a helicopter or something? Like when did he get there?
Probably a plane. They've probably been tracking Godzilla this whole time.
so
So they're just yeah.
He's just in the background.
I
What's his
got
job though? I don't know what he does.
The monitor Godzilla.
I didn't understand when he got the
Hmm.
phone call from his daughter. It cuts out. He doesn't hear anything, and then he gets like this moment of like clairvoyance. He's on the phone. He's like, I'm like, what clairvoyance are you getting? We never find out.
Feel it in the force.
Yeah, like he's just like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but like over what?
Yeah. I wish that like one of these plot lines needed to have been cut and like the Mark and Millie probably we didn't need them, you know, or if we'd had them make them much different than this because again like you said like 11 didn't do anything in the movie, you know.
No, she took up space, and literally, you needed well, really one. I mean, I guess three humans. Really, I mean, you needed the little girl because that was like the only human interaction that like I was like, yes, this is great. I want this in the movie.
You were talking about the three you were saying the three important people that needed to be in the movie, the little girl.
Pretty much the Skarsgård, pretty much the three, I guess you would say that we'll call them that the Kong group.
Yeah.
I almost said the premise group.
Grimace?
What is
Did you say
that?
Grimace?
Call of Duty.
Oh.
But yeah, no, like pretty much the Kong group. The only ones you really needed because they had to get Kong. They went
Mhm.
to not Middle Earth, and then they came back. They're the only ones you really needed.
Yeah.
Everyone else felt very. I didn't want to say supplementary because they didn't supplement anything. They just kind of. They just instead of like helping prop the movie, they just kind of went on top of it and just kind of weighed it down.
Yeah, and I will say I liked the bad guy. I liked his motivation. The motivation of the person from King of Monsters like made no sense. She had that Thanos complex. She was like humanity is a virus. And that's so cliche. It was cool when I heard it back in the Matrix, but like it's been done way too much by
That's so
now.
2000.
Yeah.
And
But even
Thanos did it really well, and that was like those are like we're done. We can't do it again. So this one made a lot more sense, saying I'm tired of these motherfucking kaiju on this motherfucking planet. I'm gonna make a mecha to so that will be the apex species again. I thought that was solid.
that was good though. The only thing that confused me was like I know they obviously don't. I don't know why they couldn't, throw more Godzilla cast in there because when they got to Hollow Earth, I'm like, where are these kaiju that have been coming out causing havoc? Because we saw
Mm,
one that could maybe not kind of do a lot of damage. It wasn't that it kind of got hurt by missiles, and everything else is
yeah,
these little crawly things. And there's nothing in Hollow Earth that suggested that there's all these monsters that are going to
yeah.
come up and wreck our day. It's just two. We got two.
That's true. Yeah, I agree, and I think that I did like that moment where the crawly things were crawling, and then the bigger like turtle like bit it. I know that it costs a lot of money to purchase each kaiju, so I know that they wouldn't have like gotten the ones, but
Mhm.
just maybe
Maybe.
invent some. Yeah, exactly. They invented some for King of Monsters.
Yeah, it
Um,
kind of felt like to me it was like it kind of brought me back to Breath of the Wild, where you have moments where you're just kind of walking through nothing,
yep.
and that's kind of where I felt it was going in that sense that it just felt empty. It didn't. It felt void, and I know like they showed like there's some war stuff, but it just kind of was like, how is this a threat?
I guess
Everything
so.
here seems pretty localized, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I want to believe that there was like, because they did show like a bit of monsters. I want to believe that there like were that they were just really close and that they didn't have to travel very far. But that if they went like in another direction, that it would have been like full of big guys. But whatever the situation happens, Kong and Godzilla face off for the second time. But now Kong has his axe, and they fight in the neon Hong Kong, and it's pretty cool, right? Are we all in agreement that that was a pretty cool fight?
That was fucking dope.
Oh yeah, when he goes Thor, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I liked it. I really felt like there was that moment too where he loses the axe and like he's like running scared. He's avoiding the laser fire and
Mhm.
stuff. Like I was scared for Kong. And again, this really pointed
I
out
was like,
how
when's the monkey gonna get burnt?
this really pointed out how much of a villain Godzilla is in this movie. He was wrecking everybody for no good, for no good reason. And then he's trying to actively kill the sympathetic character who we've been following the whole movie.
The thing is, we haven't seen of all the two movies of Godzilla, we haven't seen the evil side where he originally came from.
Yeah,
So, originally, Godzilla was a villain.
yeah.
For 3 to 4 movies, he was a villain until the 70s happened when
Well,
they
yeah.
said, let's make him kids friendly. Kids friendly, he
Mhm.
becomes a thing.
Well,
And
He was a villain for one movie, and they immediately shifted tones in the second. But then they did bring him back to being a villain
well,
randomly throughout.
he does have a dark side. He does have an evil version of himself.
yeah,
And I can
so
never remember the name. It'd be the crystal one.
the Space Godzilla.
Space
Yeah,
Godzilla.
Space Godzilla is literally the
But that's
evil version of. I mean, as close as you get to bad
Well,
Godzilla.
even
no,
to
but
get out of the lore of things, like in this movie, like he's a bad guy,
Yeah.
and there's really no reason to root for him aside
No.
from any like attachments metatextually.
Right, but it doesn't make sense to me because I mean, lore aside, you go through the three movies, like Godzilla's going through this, and all of a sudden, like he's knocks Kong down and like it starts like smirking and laughing, and I'm like, when did Godzilla have like this level of, I guess, almost
Yeah,
sentience? Because Godzilla's a very much
yeah.
roar punch, like very primal being, and now all of a
Mhm.
sudden, just like,
Yeah, even that thing where when he first gets there, he goes like, and he slaps his tail on the ground. In King Ghidorah movie, he was like doing the thing where he was flashing his back thing.
Mhm.
I wonder why he didn't do that here as an intimidation tactic.
well,
the light show.
King Kong does not have a really intimidating thing like King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah is more of a threatening thing because it stood taller than him. So him
Yeah,
showing
no, but
off
I'm.
his
Mm,
spinal flash
or he doesn't
means
need
like
to.
I'm trying to give you like I am the shit.
He's big
I
enough
will
by
fuck you
himself.
up. Kong is more we fall on water. We already seen what he can do already. Now he's got a fancy weapon that if he loses it, he's defenseless.
I
There's no real threat to Kong if he loses his weapon.
I did feel this moment where like I did really want to see more of Kong, like literally just like punching Godzilla in the face, maybe getting some really good hits on
Mhm.
Godzilla.
Well,
Did I say Kong on
technically
Kong?
those Kong
Um,
did
there was
damage.
there was a
He
bit
did
there
a
was a bit
lot
of
of damage
damage.
in the beginning. There
I
is a
would have
part
liked
when
to
I
have
was
seen more.
afraid Godzilla when there's a part when his signature move he likes to
Yeah,
do. He wants to rip open that jaw and
that
fucking
was cool.
split your throat down and then destroy you. That's it. You're done. And
Yeah,
then
I
crush your
wanted.
skull.
Geeky stuff.
It was interesting because they
Well, it
did
looked
that
like he was
in they
trying, but
did that in
Godzilla fried his
Scott.
fingers.
They did that in Skull Island, and they it was the thing where the skull crawler was too powerful and he couldn't do it. And they did like very briefly show it again here, but it was like for the second time, like they kind of did it in Skull. But I was a little scared for a moment
Yeah,
there for Godzilla, and I liked it.
but Godzilla stopped it with his atomic breath by frying his fingers for a bit.
Yeah,
Like
that
that's how
was
he
cool.
let go.
That was
And
cool.
then
The
when this
accent.
battle, Kong did a lot of damage in the beginning until Godzilla got the axe away from him,
Yeah.
and that's when Kong is like, "Oh, I
And
need
I
to get
and
out
I
of
think
here."
that I think that Kong like lost the axe too easily. Like I would have liked to have
Well,
seen him just hold on to the damn weapon. Like how hard is it? It's the only thing balancing out the odds. You're
the thing is,
nothing
like,
without the axe. Hold on to
he's chopping into a chunky lizard with atomic
it.
breath. He hit him in the leg, his like left or right leg, whatever one was at the angle that scene shot, and right there, Godzilla just like I believe he slaps him out of the way, so he automatically loses the weapon. Then Godzilla rips it out and throws into another freaking building with
Right.
just chucking it.
Yeah,
So now
I don't
Godzilla disarms it.
I don't really mean about like the movie justified it, yes, but I would have liked the movie to have been different to
Well,
say,
if Kong did
like
a
just
quick
let him have
chop
it.
and then pulled away, it would have been easier than going
Exactly.
for a good power swing.
And how much cooler would it have been if we had Kong not do one good slice, but have been like one in the center, one in the head, one in the leg, and then maybe he
Well, he
lost
did
it,
go
you
for the
know?
head. He did go for the head because he shoved the handle down Godzilla's gullet,
That was cool.
like he did in the original movie with the tree.
That was
See,
But then at the same time, they're trying to do for another shoulder chop, but Godzilla powers up the freaking axe up with the freaking
So
and then
what
overloads and blows up.
I wanted the fight to be more of like choreographed by the people that did the Matrix, you know? Like there's no moment in the Matrix where I'm like, man, I wish the action was better. There was moments like that in this.
I think the hard part is that they set Kong up to be kind of useless because compared to Godzilla and what you see Kong do throughout the whole film, you're just like, what? He got like a title slot in this movie. What good can he do? And and it's been on the direction fault because they had him like mega punching Godzilla, but you think on how apes fight and how they move. They're very. I mean, he swings, but he should be swinging on Godzilla, using his momentum to be like all
Mhm.
over. Because basically, he goes to Godzilla head on, and you're not going to win.
Yeah.
Godzilla's very He's got stumpy arms. Like you need to get on him and around him. And King Kong had the
And
ability.
there was that moment too where he was using the buildings and he was like doing the ninja warrior on the
Yeah.
buildings and then he
Mhm.
came at him and he got on his back, but it didn't work. And the movie should have like let us have a moment where we're seeing Kong. He's doing the acrobatics like you're saying, and he's changing the tide.
And what happened to using his feet? I mean, there should be more powerful than his arms. Like he should be doing like kicking back and just like knocking Godzilla around with his feet.
And we should have seen Godzilla lean back on his tail and deliver a kick. So
Like
That's
it,
why
they
I
should
think
have referenced that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
that's not the
not gonna
movie
lie.
though. He can't do that reference because if they could do the reference, but it's not referenced to the original movie because it wasn't in that movie.
Well, I needed it and I didn't get it.
I'm sorry.
So anyways, they fight and then we immediately launch into the next fight, which is um well, so to end the fight, Kong loses, right? He
Technically,
gets
yes, he loses.
knocked down. And Godzilla is like, I'm not gonna kill you with my atomic breath, even though I easily could. We both know it. So just like we're cool. And like and then King Kong was like, we're cool. And
No, it didn't feel like that. So
no,
okay.
'cause- oh, sorry. Cause let's see. Then, like, his Kong kind of gets back up to do the chase, and then he's just like,
Yeah, he was not cool because what are you doing? But no, like the thing is like Godzilla wrecked Kong after he lost his axe and dislocates freaking Kong's shoulder.
yeah,
And
knocks him
now
through
he's
the
really
building.
more defenseless because he's lost an arm basically at this point.
Oh, and there's that cool moment where he superheats the axe and
I
then
was
he
trying to
hits him
tell
in the
you.
head. And that's
Yeah.
what like knocks them both back.
No, it doesn't hit him in the head. The axe overcharges and pulses them. That's what happens. It pulses them both back.
Okay, sure.
Because Kong goes into a building too. Kong
Yeah,
would go into a
yeah.
building.
When it connects or when it gets close to connecting at the source of it, yeah, it pulses, which is really cool.
But
So he
like,
wrecked his own shit, right?
yeah, basically Kong wrecked his own shit and messed him up after that.
Yeah,
But the thing is, Kong could have got up quicker than Godzilla for Kong to wreck him more, but he didn't. So because Godzilla's slow on the get up.
yeah,
But whatever. So Kong, when you're saying all that stuff, Godzilla ripped the crap out of him, and then after he did the whole thing, it wasn't like, "Yo, you're done, right, bro? You're good. We're done.
yeah.
We get a brewski later. We'll all sit about the fire. We talk bullshit." No. Godzilla literally told him, "If you get the fuck up again, I'm gonna rip you apart and blast you to fucking hell and back again.
Yeah.
Stay down. Just stay down." And Kong didn't want to listen. He got up a little bit after Godzilla turned around and realized he was all screwed up and just went back down.
Yeah.
That's basically what really happened.
Yeah.
also,
And, no.
I think Godzilla sensed that. I mean, because the only way that to me it makes sense is Godzilla doesn't leave anyone to survive. It just doesn't work that way. That Godzilla knew that Kong was gonna die. I mean, Kong would have died, which is kind of bizarre to me. That doing CPR on him kind of was like, oh, I'm better. But
That's right. So and right. And earlier I said that like he was more of a dominance thing, but you're right. He did end up killing him essentially because his heart was slowing, and the little girl felt that. So then, in order to revive him, and so you're right. At that point, Godzilla probably should have dismembered him and then ate his heart and stuff like that in some gruesome way. You are right about that. But they couldn't do that because Kong still needs to get up to fight the Mecha Godzilla. So they have to jumpstart his heart. And I don't even remember how they do it. How did they do it?
They
ship.
they overcharge it on him.
They overcharge what?
They overcharge the ship on Kong.
Oh, the heave. That's right.
Yeah.
It was
the electric
defibrillator.
and then it jump starts and
Stop!
At this part in the movie, my dog came up on and started like spooning me, and it was really cute. So I was a little distracted. What? Don't look at me like that's weird.
It's a little weird.
so
He's spooning. She's spooning me. Were you the little spoon or the big spoon?
Get out of here with that toxic masculinity. We're talking about kaiju here. So they jumpstart his heart, and he's able to fight. And I don't know what. So like the Mecha Godzilla comes to life, as we explained already. And it starts fighting Godzilla, and it's wrecking his shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has missiles and stuff.
Oh yeah, including Godzilla just got taken out. Just finished a freaking 10-round boxing
yeah.
boxing match
And
with
there's that
King
moment where
Kong. So like, what the hell?
he jumps, and then he has that booster thing, which boosts his punch, which is really pretty cool.
Mm.
Sure. So my question is, when has a missile ever, like in this series,
Never.
when has a
No.
missile ever bothered Godzilla? And now it's just like just blasting him, and he's just
I think it's because Godzilla just basically just went, like I said, 10 rounds in a boxing ring with King Kong. Now he needs to go back and relax and charge, and he
Yeah.
can't do that. So
I
he's
could,
just basically now more vulnerable than he should be.
and
the
one thing,
problem is,
the missiles that when that snake in Hollow Earth with the wings, they shot all the missiles on him, and I really wanted to see like actual damage on some of these monsters, like a couple bloody holes,
yeah,
but it's still
Eh.
alive.
that's
But
my
really,
thing.
the bullets just like they don't do
Well, we saw that
anything.
more in Kong. Kong, we saw all that on the smaller creatures, and later on, like some of the bigger guys. They're like
Barely.
the skull guys. They're just little guys, not the big guy,
Yeah.
behemoth.
But yeah, complain about this movie is I wish that there was some sort of damage
Yeah,
really that we were seeing.
that was just what I was going to bring up too. Is the fact that like Kong takes a bit of a beating, has some abuse, but like Godzilla, nothing happens to Godzilla. That's what I'm saying. Like I almost don't accept that he's tired when he fights Mecha
Yeah.
Godzilla, because up until this point, he's just going. It doesn't matter how many times Kong punches, it's just like, okay.
It'd be a simple thing too, like a little like marking here, or like a little bit of blood comes out as like gob.
I
Or
don't know.
even his gills, maybe. He's got the gills, maybe some blood comes
I
out.
mean, maybe it's there. I mean, I'd have to, like, put it on the TV and watch it. And the problem is, I think Godzilla's also so dark
Yeah.
that it's like, unless he's got like glowing, like alien blood, we might not
The
notice.
predator blood
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
or Gamera.
and
like
and this
alien acid
this
blood.
is where the I always have a complaint about movies when the final fight is in the dark.
Yes.
And that happens constantly, and I usually think it's due to like the CG. They want to like sort of make it look
Mask it.
better, and they did that actually in Wonder Woman 1984. They put it in
They
the
did
dark,
that with
Right.
all
and it
Warner
was
Brother movies
Yeah.
with the
it.
Well, I mean,
Hmm.
also the night is the end, so it's kind of like the end of the arc.
hmm.
The
So
full
in
end.
this one they did it, but the neon was so good and the colors were so great, and they had a proper amount of like fog and stuff. So I really like thought that they did it for a reason, and it was a good reason.
Mhm.
They nailed that. And then the sun starts coming up when they're having the Mecha Godzilla fight, which I thought was cool.
And Kong fucking snaps his
Like
arm back in place
like
and gets right.
they fought all night, and then
Yeah.
they're like waking up. They're going all the way into the morning. Like that's sick.
Yeah. Well, the sun rises. It's a new day. It's a rebirth, and you have this Mecha Godzilla to rival the
Hmm.
old. In came the new. I mean, I
And
doubt they were thinking
hmm
that symbolically about it, but I mean, it
I know.
does play
I
into
think somebody on the board was thinking that, and it got through.
it.
And I will say, like this moment was very much like the Martha moment in Batman v Superman, where they're like, "All right, we're gonna have to buddy up and fight this common enemy." And this was something I was talking to Mateo about. I was like, I really hope they don't do it where they're rivals and then they have to team up against the common enemy, which is Mechagodzilla, and they did exactly that
Yeah, this movie was predictable to a T. Pretty much everything
to
I
a T.
predicted came. Yeah, everything we predicted just happened,
Yeah.
and it.
I was predicting
I
crazy shit, hoping other stuff was going to happen, but I was like the predictable route, and
Yep.
they did it.
And like the one thing that really bothered me is I was hoping they weren't going to kind of do. Speaking of Batman and Superman, they weren't going to do the Doomsday where you take one of the most like iconic villains for this character, and they're just
Yeah.
oh, you see him for 5 minutes, and then
Yeah.
they're going to be.
No, that's exactly right. I was hoping that when we do see Mechagodzilla that we would have him for his own movie, you know. And but no, they made him very short, very they basically he was like there was the climax of the movie, which was King Kong versus Godzilla, and then the coming back down from it. was where we saw Mecha Godzilla, and
Yeah. It
um,
it
they
basically
did him
like,
dirty.
yeah, it did. And it's in my head, I'm like my thought wave goes to it'd be like Sonic Adventure 2 where they introduce Shadow the Hedgehog at the end of the game after they beat Eggman, then Shadow shows up and then he just kicks his butt and throws him into space. They kind of did that to Mecha Godzilla,
A little, yeah, yeah.
you know, and it's
Um,
and I mean it works in a
I think it
way.
works better in games.
Yeah,
I don't think it works in movies though.
no,
No,
and it's the hard part is because it was very conflicting, like we were talking about before. I'm like, Mechagodzilla looked like it didn't have anything that would really reinforce it against a kaiju,
for sure.
but at the same time, they keep talking it up like it's a kaiju like champion. But then
Yeah.
again, they tore it apart just as easily as it looks. It
Yeah,
should.
once the two of them were able to team up, eventually Godzilla gets knocked down, right? But then King Kong actually was able to save the day with his axe and starts chopping the dude to bits because he like supercharged
Yeah,
the the axe. What
yeah.
happened there?
Godzilla looked at the axe and was like, and then
Pew!
yeah,
And then yeah, um, and then supercharged the axe, and then King Kong was able to chop this dude to bits, and it was very gory, even though the gore was just oil or whatever.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that was kind of cool.
It was the whole time. I'm thinking back to when they're in Hollow Earth and he fought the flying monster. I'm like, no, dude, Kong, don't drink those fluids. Don't. Like I was waiting, taking like start chugging it and be
Yeah. Oh, that would have
like,
been good. He could have done that and then had that sleepy. That, that's what he could have. Oh, it's not
like
good.
goes in the corner and vomits.
Yeah. Right.
Oh God.
It's his new
Yeah.
juice.
Yeah, it was a short battle with Mechagodzilla, and also when he was chopping him up, I really felt like, I don't know, it seemed too easy at that moment.
Yeah, it was
It was
very
like
anticlimactic.
very anticlimactic.
It's not like Mechagodzilla like had them both like super pinned down, and not even like they didn't even need the MacGuffin. It's more just there's no point where watching it, it's like I felt um, threatened. I never felt threatened by Mechagodzilla's presence
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they fought and then it was just kind of like, oh, okay, here we go.
There was no
No,
terror of Mechagodzilla first, which is
no,
what Mechagodzilla needs that for his own movie.
yeah.
Um, and then afterwards, they sort of the dust settles, and then Godzilla roars, and then but he's just going back off into the sea, and then we sort of fade out. There's a bit of music that plays, and we fade out to the next day. Yeah, you.
There's one important fact in that is that the only reason Godzilla goes into the sea is because Kong surrenders the Godzilla axe.
Mm-hmm. He
Oh,
So
drops his
yeah,
roaring,
weapon.
and then he drops it on the ground,
that's
like I'm
right.
done with it. And
Well,
then Godzilla's like, okay, like we're cool. I know you're not gonna try to kill me. We're equals. And he goes
Sure.
off.
then King Kong falls onto the skyscraper and like passes out. Looks like he fucking just dies.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and then eventually
But
we
we go to one epilogue, which is just he's living in Hollow Earth now,
Mhm.
which is a replacement for the Skull Island of the original, which I thought was cool. I liked it. And he's home. That's probably not the sign. I'm sorry that I even
like
tried it. I'm so sorry.
sending all the people.
I thought I watched a movie and I knew sign language, but I don't.
Bullshit.
um,
Bullshit.
all right, and 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 we get this happy sort of thing, and then we get to see Kong sort of triumphant. Um,
Hmm. And
and
then
it really did feel like, wow, yeah, Kong won, but I think he lost 3 times in a row. I don't think he won at all.
No.
He kind of
Um,
won against
yeah,
Mechagodzilla.
they made
he
a
won. That's his
comment.
win.
They said Kong won round two.
Yeah, but
I don't know why.
Why? Wait, what?
He didn't. Yeah, they
He
on the
didn't.
on the helicopter or whatever flying around there, like they said that. Yeah, didn't
Yeah,
they?
I don't think so.
But it
Kong
didn't.
lost the
Kong
water
really didn't.
battle.
Yeah, Kong really
Then
didn't shine in this movie.
No,
Kong
no. But
lost the
he,
water battle. Kong lost the city battle. Kong won the Mechagodzilla battle.
but still surrendered the battle, losing the ultimate battle. You know.
Yeah,
It was
and
good to
then
see Kong at least have that victory though, winning against Mechagodzilla
Hmm.
yep.
Well, if you
and
consider
finding
the
a home.
fighting, in case you're adding him versus giant snake creature, he had help.
Yeah.
He
Hmm.
was about to die from a
Yep.
freaking wing.
Yeah, he was about to get fucked.
As
Yeah.
the wing got started suffocating him, and they didn't shoot missiles at it, it
Mhm.
wouldn't have let go of him. It was just smothered. King Kong just like they ate him later.
Yep,
Yeah,
and like yes, that was like we were going to say it's that Kong couldn't fight any battle
Kong is a
alone.
capital P.
by himself.
Pineapple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't
Yes,
fight anything
pineapple.
by himself. Yeah, but I like to think that while he's in Hollow Earth in the epilogue there, he's like fighting, training like Rocky Balboa and yeah, and he's getting his like his training in on all these
Mhm.
other
Him
smaller
lifting weights.
kaiju
Yeah, and,
in
and we'll see. And the hard part is that's not really what was supposed to happen.
yeah.
Yeah, no, they gave the happy ending, and that's also why, as we talked about, the same reason we talked before, and also why there's no extra post-credit scene is
Okay.
because they have no idea what's happening with the franchise. So they decided, you
Uh,
know what, this isn't supposed to end. This isn't the end, but we might not get the rights to it, so we're going to put a happy ending as opposed to leave it open.
maybe
For
that's
it to
why they
push.
rushed the Mechagodzilla thing.
It might be.
And ended up not following up on the skull of King Ghidorah, you know, in a big way, in the way that I wanted. That actually all makes sense. Yeah, when the movie ended and I got to the credits, I was like, no, don't be the credits. And then the credits started rolling. I was like, all right, well, let's see what the after the credit scene was. And then I got it, and then I thought I missed it. And then I rewind, I fast forwarded through the entire movie one more time just to get to the credits, and I was like, no, there's no after the credit scene.
Yep, that's what happened to me too.
Yeah, I just kept on skimming back and forth for the credit scenes. And
Yep, I'm just
did I
going.
Yeah,
miss
was
something?
it in the middle? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
there's
I
nothing.
looked it up eventually because I'm like, at first when I did it, somehow it showed another scene from the movie,
Mm-hmm.
like
That's
during the credits. For some reason, like
Mm-hmm.
the Apple TV, it got funny, and I was like, where did that scene I just saw go? And then I looked it up, and there wasn't one. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and that is a good thing to about the movie though, is like when it was over, I still did want more. Like I was ready for more. The bad thing is that that kind of means that the movie wasn't enough.
no, it wasn't good. And I think for me, like almost like I was naming like a semi-closing thought. It's like
Yeah.
I don't hate the movie because it felt so quick. I didn't have time to dislike it because like
Yeah.
there was enough kaiju fighting and everything. The movie just kind of went forward. I will say that is the movie didn't feel like 2 hour, almost 2 hours. I
Yeah.
sat there and I'm like, oh wow, we're already halfway through it.
No, yeah, and actually when they defeated Mechagodzilla, I thought that there was still like maybe 10, 15 minutes left. You
Yeah,
know? I was like ready to have more.
yeah, and it just ended. So it's like it didn't feel long enough for me to be like, oh my goodness, like all the atrocities that I feel like I'm being witness to. You know, they just keep building up, and it's slowing the movie down. But it
And
just kind of
yeah.
flows.
And in the first in 2014 Godzilla and in King of Monsters, both of those there was a moment in it where I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a nap. I don't really care. This movie didn't have any of those moments.
no.
No, yeah, no. It's like to me, like this movie's like watch it, but I don't know if I need to. Like I don't know. Like if I want to watch it again, I would like to watch the kaiju fights again.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah,
Just make a
but
compilation of the kaiju fights, and then we're good.
yeah, because the more I think about the movie, the more I'm just like, it's really bad, and not even the
Because
sense
you're
of
reading into the plot.
no, it
Stop
doesn't.
reading into
No,
the plot.
It doesn't
You're
matter.
doing it, and
No,
you can't stop doing it,
but it
and you're
doesn't
doing it.
matter. I can watch a stupid movie. Like I love the John Wick movies. Those are really stupid. I don't
Those
think
aren't
about them.
stupid. That's a man that loves his puppy.
Well, yeah. Well, that's fine, but it's ridiculous. I don't need to believe it to every word to like it, but where this, it's just so blaringly dumb and so little thought was put into so much that it's like that's what
Yeah.
bothers me.
I
It's
feel like
not even,
one like sort of sci-fi guy on the writing team was like, let's have all these cool concepts, but then like left, went on vacation, and then they were like, oh yeah, we'll just have to finish it up. What was he talking about? I don't know. Let's just let's just roll with it.
yeah, and yeah. So it felt not insulting, but just kind of. It was so obviously unthought, like so obviously unthought out that just like it bothers. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of like it sticks out too much as
There's
opposed
a way to do cartoony, and I think the Spider-Man movies do it really well. The Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. Well, okay, the first two Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. Um like the whole thing with Doc Ock and creating the power of the sun. Like it didn't necessarily make sense. It didn't have to. We just sort
Mhm.
of understood.
Right, and I think too that the Godzilla is it pulls in so much stuff that doesn't need to be there
Yeah.
that I think it validates it for kind of hating on the plot and the story because it's not just like it's a silly doofy plot with a bunch of monsters just punching each other. It's they add so much more to it that it
Yeah.
almost justifies like no, you're just making really bad decisions.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the original made enough sense. Like
Yeah.
they didn't actually need to add all this other stuff to it.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah, because like you can make a campy, goofy Godzilla, and I'll be happy because
Do it.
it'll be Godzilla. It doesn't have to be like Oscar
Yeah.
award-winning writing. It's
I
just
want I want a Godzilla that's actually like a parody of Godzilla, but then they like make it serious in the rewrite, you know? Like I think that would have the right energy, you
probably.
know? They just change all of the camp jokes and like try to make it a little bit more serious, but it still has that overall camp,
Mhm.
you know? That'd be perfect.
Hmm.
Um but so where would you guys rank it in the with the other three movies?
I would probably put it first, even though I think they all have their problems. I mean, none of them are anywhere near perfect movies by any standard, even for Godzilla. But I think the this one is the easiest to get through. I
Mhm.
feel like this movie, I didn't have issues watching it. I was happy while I watched it, even when I was a bit unnerved and kind of confused by their decisions. But watching, I was happy enough seeing the kaiju fights because it's like they got longer each time. And I can't tell if that's because their budget got bigger or they were learning that, oh,
Yeah.
we need more kaiju because our human plot points aren't working, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll still inject them in there anyway. But it was a much smoother ride, I think, from start to finish.
Yeah, if I think that if this movie incorporated some of the stuff that they brought in with King of Monsters, at the end of King of Monsters, all of those other monsters come up to him and like bow to him. I don't know where they are here. And I don't really know, like not a lot of the stuff from that movie made it into this. So that definitely like diminishes my enjoyment of King of Monsters. But I definitely the
Mm-hmm.
original, the 2014 is definitely my least favorite. And then I think then in third place would be this would be King of Monsters. And then this is my second favorite. Because my first favorite is Kong Skull Island. I love every moment of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
We're incorporating Skull Island into this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's it.
the
my brain is just with Godzilla.
oh no, the monster
Oh,
verse.
well then I'm with you on that one with Kong Skull Island. It would go Kong, then Godzilla Kong. Okay, that
Yeah.
would definitely fit better. Though honestly, if they're thinking on that, I think this movie would almost it might be less broken if it happened before King of Monsters. I think it might make more sense.
Yeah. Well, none of it. That wouldn't even fix it, but
No, but
it might make it work a little
yeah,
better.
it might have some smoother rails.
This movie would have been better if they just put it like in the 80s. They should have done it in the 80s. You know, the 80s is so in right now, and you had the movie in Vietnam. Skip ahead a couple years to the 80s. You're trendy. There's a weird decision not to do that. I guess humanity hadn't seen Godzilla though until so they couldn't have done it.
Yeah,
But
And they haven't. Godzilla hasn't resurfaced
then
until
at the end of
2014.
it, they got the Men in Black thing, and everybody forgets.
you know, yeah, because I don't know, they, I think they were trying to justify, but they couldn't figure out a way out of how Godzilla didn't know Kong was around. I think they're trying to weave their way through that and try to find a way that, well, we're going to remove Kong to get Godzilla to notice, even though Godzilla had noticed before, theoretically.
Yeah.
So I just think they just couldn't figure out
Well,
how to.
yeah. I mean, so from that rating though, it's like it's not the worst Godzilla. It's actually kind of better than the other Godzillas. It's the best Godzilla, but it's not quite as good as the camp, at least yeah, in my opinion, as Kong.
Yeah.
When I was watching Kong, in anticipation of this movie, I was looking up the director of that, and I was hoping that he was going to do this one. But then I saw this director who is like has only done some horror movies before, and I was like, that seems odd. Why would they have like a horror movie director do a Godzilla?
Right.
I don't think that makes sense.
No. So I am curious if they'll make another Kong movie. If they'll make Kong Hollow World or something, which I'd be all about that because I thought that
Yeah,
needed a movie.
maybe
And
that's why they focus so heavily on Kong.
maybe I'm not sure how
This
the
whole thing probably is like it's all a product of this Toho thing.
pretty much, yeah. Because I was gonna say because when they got there in Hollow World, I'm like, I feel like this needs a movie or most of a movie to like make it worth going.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know.
I'm in for Kong Hollow Earth. I'm in for it.
Maybe.
So Mateo, where does this fit on your scale?
No. Uh, I would say. I would say Godzilla versus Kong, then Godzilla King of All Monsters, Godzilla, then Kong.
Yeah, Mateo hates Kong.
I hate Kong.
Um,
I don't like it. There's a lot
um,
of shit that happens in that movie that doesn't make any sense. Then
yeah.
they try to evolve these people. Then half the cast, they don't even try to explain them. Then they waste characters. There's a lot of fucking fucked up shit that happens,
You're
and they
focusing on the
don't.
plot, Mateo. Why are you focusing on the
I
plot?
know that's the one movie I focus on the fucking plot
Yeah,
because
well,
they involve these military unit guys that actually had to be kind
well,
of like it's a
if you
King
want to
Kong
see, I
movie.
think we did a review, right? There's a review on Batyard of Kong Skull Island.
Maybe
So if you want to get that, you can go over there.
it doesn't. It like the thing is like King Kong
Um,
is a different option because King Kong is they try to evolve humans with the ape to see the connection. There is no real connection with Godzilla and humans because Godzilla doesn't think of humans like that. Kong they can try to get an exception. It didn't feel like that with this one, and then they didn't even use the native tribe that much in that movie. They used it a few times. It just was. Rah.
yeah,
Then
so if
what's
you
his
want to see
name?
your review for that,
Ah,
go
ah.
over to Batyard. But we do have less than a minute on this
Yes,
to
we do.
do an outro, and I feel like we probably can't fit it in.
Goodbye.
So,
Bye.
yeah, goodbye. Thank you for watching. Let us know what you thought of King Kong versus Godzilla. Are you Team Kong or Team Zilla? Um, did you like it? Let us know. Give us a smooch. All right, great.